Hey, what's up, my uplifting life partners? For those of you, this is your first time hearing me. Welcome. Thanks for the support. My name is Ron Simplified Myers, author of the book, The Relationship Success Handbook. Get rid of your problems, not your partner. Now, today, what I wanted to come and talk to you about is basically it had to do with a young lady I was talking with, but she basically said the guy, he dumped me. And we kind of talked for a while, and she was sharing with me that this is their first date, and they had a few drinks. Matter of fact, he paid for like the first couple of drinks. She paid for a drink after that, and she was going to pay for another one. And he's like, "No, I got a beer. I'm cool, whatever." But bottom line is, after all that was done, he's like, "Okay, we're just going to go to my place now." And she's like, "I'm not ready to go to your place, you know." So he told her that he would help her. He would wait around with her while she got her Uber. And she said, next thing she knows, she looks around and he's nowhere to be found. And so she was taking that personal, like it was an attack on her. And I asked her, why would you do that? I said, he let you know very quickly what he was about. He was trying to get a one-night stand with you. Why would you take that? Because here's why I say this before I get into that. I asked her, I said, the word dumped, does it make you feel better about yourself or make you feel worse? She said, well, it makes me feel bad. So why would you use it? See, folks, there are enough people out there that will talk bad about you, put you down. You don't need to join the party. If anybody's going to ever be on your squad, it's got to be you. You got to be there to believe in you and support you and push you when others aren't willing. It's great, you know, like a lot of times you hear people say you need that mentor, you need that person to push you or something. Sometimes that's great if it's there. What you going to do if it ain't there? See, because I had a relative ask me that one time. They were like, I need you to call me daily or I'll call you and I need you to motivate me. And I was like, I could, but what if I ain't around? Then what you gonna do? See, folks, you have to, this is why I tell people there's a difference between inspiration and motivation. I don't share things to motivate you. I don't want to be a motivational speaker. I don't want to be a motivator. I want to learn how to inspire people, because in other words, that means the answers come from within you. It's inside. Inspiration means you are fired up. You're on fire. You push you. You got to have that, because you got to be able to do it when others aren't around. But anyway, back to the topic. So I told her, I said, you don't need to beat yourself down. Again, there's enough people out there that will do it. You don't need to join that party. So I told her, I said, if anything, recognize that he lost out on the greatest opportunity possible, which was to be with you. And at the same time, he lets you know he ain't a guy that you want to be with, because he is willing to leave you in an area with a whole bunch of people on your own with no concern as to your well-being. Why would you ever want to be in a relationship with someone who is willing to put you in a position that they don't care nothing about you? This is why you guys always hear me say is get rid of your problems, not your partner. Everything I'm sharing is to get you to learn to love and to value you. And then you surround yourself with people who value you. And those that don't, it's not our job to make them value you. It's our job to release them from being around you. You know, that old saying where people talk about respect is earned. I said, no, it's not. I said, because whenever someone tells me that, I said, so you're telling me that you disrespect people when you first meet them until you decide they deserve respect. Is that what you do? And they go, well, no, that's not what I'm saying. That's exactly what you said. What it is, and then they got it, and they were like, oh, I get it. Yeah, I give people respect, but depending on how they act determines on whether I'm going to continue to give it to them. And then I said, but why would you let other people dictate who you are? See, folks, I don't buy into any of that. I give everyone respect. Why? Because that's just who I am. I don't let you determine who I'm going to be. Now, based on who you are will determine on whether I hang out with you. But that has nothing to do with whether I respect you as a human being, as a person. They ain't got nothing to do with me dealing with you. You guys heard me talk about love you. I can love you from a distance. I ain't got to be right around you. I don't have to spend no time with you and still love you. They ain't got nothing to do with each other. So, but anyway, back to the topic again. So my whole objective in the conversation we're having, because she even shared with me, like, just before this guy, there was another guy that they had gone out like 6 different times, but she had told this guy up front that she's looking for a relationship. And I guess after like the 6th date, he told her, he said, you know what, I can't do this. He said, I'm not looking for a serious relationship. And so they both kind of wished each other well. So she's like, so she had the guy. She said, well, why did it take 6 dates for him to tell me that? And I mean, nobody knows why people do what they do. We can all assume. But my thing is the same thing with the first guy. He didn't think on the first date, but he figured within a couple of days saying you would give in, go to bed, and he could see that you were holding to your guns and you were actually looking for a relationship, and that's not what he's looking for. And her thing is she's getting to a point where she's putting men, which we hear a lot, where she's putting men in that category where men are only out for one thing. Men can't be trusted. Maybe she shouldn't date. You know, all these kind of conversations, and I was helping her to get clear on the fact that there are guys out there that are looking for someone to be committed to. But I always tell people, you attract what you put out. Now, I've heard someone say, no, you don't attract what you put out, it's who you entertain, because you're going to attract everyone. No, attraction means a magnet, means we come together, which means we're both in agreement. Just because you are attracted to me, but I'm not attracted to you, then that's not a magnet. That's not an attraction. That's one person being attracted. The same thing the other way around. If I'm attracted to you, but you're not attracted to me, then I'm attracted, but it's not an attraction. So why'd I get on that? I don't know, but it's just to clarify for those people that try to be real philosophical and say, it's not attraction. It's everyone crosses your path. It's who you entertain. No, it's who you attract to, which means you guys become a magnet. But anyway, and I guess the reason I'm clarifying that is because attraction means just that. Why are you guys coming together? Why are you? And there's a certain reason that you are attracted and becoming attraction to a certain individual. That's why you hear people all the time say, I don't know why I keep running to the same person. It's because you haven't made the adjustments. And again, back to get rid of your problems. You haven't made adjustments. Therefore, you're going to keep attracting and being attracted to the same type of individual. So the example I use is like me. If I'm looking for a woman that doesn't drink, but I'm hanging at all the bars, and then I'm blaming women that they all drink, they're all alcoholics, why they all gotta hang at bars? I mean, does anybody that doesn't drink? And I'm blaming the women, then it's not the women that are the issues, it's me. I have to be willing to say, Ron, maybe you should stop going in the bars looking for a woman that doesn't drink. You guys see what I'm saying? I made the adjustment. That's why, again, it's get rid of your problem. I made the adjustment. I stopped going to the bars, and all of a sudden I start to attract or be attracted or become an attraction to a different type of lady because I become different. This is not about me going in there and trying to change the women that are in the bar, which unfortunately a lot of people do in relationships, is they'll go find someone who's in the bar, bring them out the bar, try to convince them not to drink, and then say, we got relationship problems. I don't get it. I'm confused. I have no idea why you have relationship problems. You know I'm messing with you on that one. The reason is, quit trying to change people. All you want to do is allow people to be themselves. That's why I tell people, you know, even when I hear you want first date impressions, you want the guy to impress you on the first date. No, you don't. You want him to be himself on the first date. See, that's what was happening with these two guys that she was talking about. They were trying to impress her so they can get what they wanted. And the key is what you really want, and what she really got on that second guy is what she really wants, which is he was up front. He let you know, shoot, you ain't going to my house? I'm out. See, that's good. That's not a negative. So ladies, when you find yourself in that, quit talking about he's the best thing for me. Oh, he was the one. No, he's not. If he's the one doesn't leave. He's one that helped you get clarity on what you're looking for, and thank him for that. He has some qualities that helped you see some things that you may want in your next partner, But I guarantee you, he also has some things about him that helps you get clear on what you don't want in a partner. See, everyone that crosses your path is all a part of the journey we call life. And folks, you came here to experience all the different emotions: sadness, happiness, jealousy, anger, frustration, depression. You came to experience all of those. I know that sounds crazy, but yes, the human experience is to experience all of the different emotions. Because how do you know what moves you? How do you know what feels good? How do you know you're happy if you've never been sad? See, that's really what goes on. The different emotions let you trigger, gives you a certain feeling, and you get to know, does this particular emotion move me forward on my journey called life? Or does this emotion actually stifle me and make me stand still? And if that emotion is bad and stifles, then that's an emotion you might want to stop using. But sometimes what we call negative, which for some people, the doubt, when people doubt them, for some people, that's what drives them, is when you tell me what I can't do, they want to prove to you I'll do it in spite of you. That's cool. That's why I say there's never one way of coaching, because some coaches, that's their mentality, is they coach that one way. They're always in people, and they're tacky folks, like, because this is how I get you to move. No, everyone doesn't move that way. A lot of people, and I believe most people, when you're negative to them, now they can watch shows where they watch you be very direct and they go, I like him, I like her. They're very direct. They pull no punches. People feel that way as long as you're not pulling those punches at them. But the moment they get around you and you do that to them, they call you a jerk, and then they don't want to deal with you. So the bottom line is, you got to find out what works for you, what inspires you, and then that's what you use. So even if it's what the world calls a negative, but it moves you, you use it. If you're a person that's moved by the hugging, and again, that's why I said you got to know the difference. If you're a person that's inspired because people hug you, they encourage you, then those are the kind of people you want to surround you, because you don't want to disappoint them, so that moves you. Again, know thyself. And that's the reason everything I share is getting rid of your problems. Get clarity on who you are, what moves you, what makes you strive in this thing we call life. So anyway, so what I was getting to, bottom line, is you never ever let another one cause you to put a negative tag on yourself. If you're running across guys that are quick to, and again, this is that 90-day thing. You guys have heard me talk about that. If you haven't, then I have a video where I talk about the 90. It's also on my podcast too, but I talk about the 90-day rule real quick. For those that don't know, I'm not a fan of it. The only part about the 90-day rule, and for those that never heard of the 90-day rule, it just basically said, you wait 90 days before you go to bed with a guy, because you're giving him 90 days because you're putting him on probation to see if he deserves to go to bed with you. Think of how silly that sounds. And the reason I say it's silly is because the only part of the 90-day rule I agree with is take your time and get to know an individual. Aside from that, it is a silly rule to me. And the reason for that is because, first off, your body, the most valuable thing you will ever have, is not something that you put on a calendar. It is not something you put on probation. This is not something you're quizzing someone to determine on whether they get to be a part of you. I'm not going to get deep into the sexual part, but I tell ladies, you got to understand, no one and nothing can ever get closer to you than through sex. No one, except for an actual baby in your belly. That is the only thing that can ever get any closer to you from a physical perspective. And for you to take that very lightly and be open to, I'm going to wait 90 days to let some guy, really learn to value yourself. Whatever you think is valuable. And again, for me, and I've heard the 90 days where people say, well, you're taking a chance after 90 days of losing them. But I let them go. If you're waiting for 90 days, or you may be a woman that, based on your beliefs, you're not, the only way a guy's going to bed with you is to put a ring on it. You do not give in to some 90-day thing that people don't made up so you can keep some guy. No, let him go. Bye-bye. He is not the one. As I've said before, get clear on who you are, what you're looking for, and you do not let the world start to sway you with these silly theories or formulas or stuff that they've come up with. Value you. And when you do that, when a guy walks out, or a lady, because you guys know everything I teach, it goes both ways. When they walk out, be grateful for what they brought to the table and the things they shared with you that you can use. But also thank them for their time and for, for the lessons. And be glad that they're gone. And the reason I say that is because they're obviously not the right person. And at least at this time, folks, don't get me wrong. There are times where you break up with people, you both go about getting your stuff together, and then you end up back together later on. So I'm not saying that's not possible, but don't ever wait around for someone to figure this out. There was a song where the guy was talking about that. He said, he told the girl he'd rather break up than to cheat, which I thought was cool, that he was being upfront and honest. She's crying and begging him to stay. And I know some people go, Ron, but you should do it. No, I don't buy that. I'm not begging anybody to stay somewhere they don't want to be. And people go, but you want them to know you care. No, they got to care enough not to want to leave. You get me? If I got to talk you into not wanting to leave, then you're not doing it for me. You know what I mean? You're not doing it because you want to do it. You're doing it because of my tears and because I made you feel guilty. Or no, I don't want you doing it for that reason. Because when the guilt disappears or when you're not feeling that way, you're going to walk or you're going to cheat. And in that particular song, and I heard him say it, and I was sitting there going, I'm glad he was upfront and honest with her, and my thing to her, if I was speaking to her, is let him go and don't you wait around. Because he's saying, he's not saying he's gone. Oh, yeah, you are. You gone. Now, that's not saying, again, I'm closed. That's not saying you're closing doors. Anything can happen in the future. But you gone. And I'm moving on. And again, I know people go, Ron, you make it sound so simple. Understand, emotions only come from stories that you're creating. You change the stories, you change the emotions. And if you sit around and you're writing stories about he's the one, I love him so much, he's does so all these great, how can you say all these good things about a person and feel bad and not want them to leave? If you're saying all these good things about them, I wouldn't want them to leave either. Because I done put them on a pedestal and made them this great individual. Why would I want someone this fantastic to leave? You got to change the story. You got to recognize your value and be able to say, you know what? I know I'm valuable. I know I'm worthy. And I deserve to be with someone who actually wants to be with me. For whatever reason, he's got this thing he needs to figure out. Bye. You go figure that out. And again, in the meantime, I got to move forward. And again, folks, don't misinterpret what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it doesn't hurt. You won't cry or go through some tears. Folks, that's being a human being. I don't tell people not to be a human being. Whatever you feel is real. Feel it, but understand you can't stay there if it's one of those things that make you go hide in a corner, or it's one of those things that drains you. You got to write the stories again. That's why I talked earlier about the emotions. You got to figure out the emotions that move you. And it's okay if you cry up front and because you feel you need to do that. But folks, the longer you sit there crying, the more time you keep trying to make them be the one even though they don't left, the less time you have on actually finding the person that's really right for you. Because again, it's not them if they're gone. So as you guys know, it ain't right, it ain't wrong, it is my opinion. Now, if you haven't had the opportunity to watch my other videos, run over to ronsyouchannel.com, and that's the letter U, ronsyouchannel.com. Check out my other videos. Subscribe to the channel. Leave me comments on this particular podcast video, on my other ones. Also, put down topics you'd like for me to cover. I love sharing insights. Again, like I said, they're my opinions. Folks, please don't get caught in thinking anyone has all the answers. These are my opinions. These are my perspectives. These are things that I've learned through my now 58 years of living, and things that have worked for me in my relationship. You got to figure out what works for you. Take insight from others and then figure out what works for you. And again, as you guys know, I love to end with, if you're not having fun, you should be doing something else. I'll talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye-bye.